The muzzle flash was not a muzzle flash that I would commonly identify as a handgun muzzle flash. This was a large fire muzzle flash that I could see directly in front of me, and then the percussion from that muzzle flash I could feel being, you know, the percussion had nowhere to go. It was straight on at us, and I could feel the percussion. So I could see the muzzle flash, feel the percussion, and with the muzzle flash, it then gave illumination to that hallway. So at that time, I could see can I stand up, Judge?
Sure.
You may.
So I could see in the hallway, if you or me, I could see in the hallway a subject, and I could not tell if it was a male or a female, in a shooting stance at the ready here, and it lit up that figure. So if I'm you, or I'm where you're at, I see the muzzle flash, I get illumination from that muzzle flash, and then I can see a shadowy silhouette of a figure, and I couldn't identify whether it was a male or a female.
All right, Donald Schweitzer, you were with the SWAT unit. Your thoughts about what we just heard?
I find this really difficult to analyze, Vinny, because, you know, if you take this officer for his word, and I have no reason to doubt him, he was in a desperate, perhaps a panicked attempt to save the lives of other officers. You know, we could armchair quarterback this, but if he really thought that that was the suspect in these conditions and he fired, then I don't see any criminality, possibly, you know, a violation of policy. Maybe it's negligent. You know, it's kind of like taking out a sniper, you know, in a war type of a situation. But in this case, it's a domestic situation where there's a lot of innocent people that could be hit through the walls and everything. So it's just a real tough one for me. I think I have a lot of emotion that goes into this because I could feel for those officers that were in that situation.
Well, where we're at, and this is trained in the academy, we were in that fatal funnel. It's been, I guess, touched on, but I'll describe more in detail. The fatal funnel is an area you don't want to be in on a search warrant, okay? You want to get out of that area as quickly as possible. You're trained from day one. Do not stay in the fatal funnel. You have to go through the fatal funnel at some point to make entry into wherever you're getting entry into. So I knew facing that muzzle flash, and there's an active shooter directly in front of me, we're not going to continue making entry into that apartment and taking rounds. I spun out to my left, kind of in a similar fashion that Detective Nobles did with the ram previously, and ran back through the breezeway. I did not want to be in the fatal funnel. I know that people die in the fatal funnel, as it is. Sergeant Madding is now to my left on the ground. So I want to get out of that fatal funnel as quickly as possible and get to a location where I can return rounds.
What do you know, was Sergeant Mattingly out of commission, or was he returning round?
I don't know.
How about Miles Cosgrove?
At that time, I did not know.
Donald Schweitzer, two parts. I mean, he was getting a little emotional in that moment. He was emotional in other moments today on the stand. Your reaction to that and the concept of this fatal funnel and what's going through your mind at that time?
Yeah, it's a very basic thing that most officers learn in the training academy, and that is that the doorway is a dangerous place. It's the fatal funnel. You don't want to be in there. I think this officer is receiving a lot of criticism because he left. He backed out. And I see no fault with that, Vinny. I think that anybody that's been in a military situation or a SWAT team knows that, you know, you have to take cover. You have to retreat when it's necessary. And for him to back out and go some other place because there's bullets coming his way, I don't see anything wrong with that at all. You know, in spite of the criticism that this officer